Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. It is Saturday night. Mercury is out of the microwave. So that's good. And like the entire time it was in retrograde, I don't know about you, but it going direct, it's been bumpy. It's been bumpy. No, we are here. We are gathered together. All is well. Let me know where you're coming in from, what you are sipping on this evening. I myself have some wine because this afternoon it was like it was one of those days where everything kind of started fine and then it was just a comedy of errors. So, but that's okay because we are here. Tech is now working. I had one of those days. So earlier today, I'm online. I'm getting everything ready. And the dock that goes to the computer that handles all of this stuff stopped having the HDMI cable work. So I couldn't have my second monitor. And it's my job, this job, all need the second monitor. So that added an errand to the day and things like that. It was one of those days. But I'm glad to be here with you guys. What is on the docket tonight? What are we doing tonight? Well, we're going to finish up the TLDR of the Kouri Richins trial. I decided I'm not going to go through the closings because, in all honesty, your best bet for the closings are with the attorneys, with the other channels that I've listed in the description. Because if you want to see the full thing with commentary, if you want to see the full closing arguments with commentary, you've got a couple different options. And I'm just going to recommend EDB, Runkle, Lawyer, that's where to go catch the closing arguments. They were something. We will cover some of my thoughts on them. But we'll go over the verdict a little bit. That's going to be super short. Then I'm going to give you the TLDR of the Afroman trial. If you do not know what that trial is about, I'm gonna fill you in. It was it was a wild ride. Um, and then our deep dive this evening is going to be Janet Mills not reading the room well at all, along with the bigger question for what we're looking at heading into the midterms, what we're looking at as far as the matchups go, and what does that mean? What does this sort of a how to put it? I mean, if you launch your campaign and your very first ad goes over like a lead balloon and you get ratioed to high hell in the comments, how do you pivot? Do you pivot? And looking at some of the other races and things going on with that. So that is what is on our list for this evening. Before we get into that, however, if you are new here, welcome. I'm Aurora, and every Saturday we gather here and we hang out and we talk politics, pop culture, or court. Sometimes all, sometimes one or two. And my mission in doing that is I know there is a community out there that I want to be a part of where facts are friends and we can have nuanced discussions, we can ask questions, we can chat with each other and not just fight, because so much on the internet these days is honestly just trying to get people to fight. And that ties in a little bit to the big story of the evening. The Janet Mills part of it is there's a lot of folks, I see it when I'm in a lot of these other chats where people want to be able to have conversations. People want to be able to say, I agree with you on this, this, and this, and I don't agree with you on this. As Hogue, one of my other favorite attorneys on the internet, says, reasonable minds can differ. And we see that a lot in court. It's why I pay attention to a lot of court. It's why I listen to court for fun, because there are rules there. There's decorum. I mean, trust me, not always, but and it there a lot of what I put out here is opinion for sure. And there is room for that as well, but facts and opinions are not necessarily the same thing. And um we have to have room to be able to have that chat, have that discussion, and that is what I'm working on building here, because we can talk about all of these things and disagree on stuff and still be friendly at the end of the day. There are some things that they aren't disagreements. It's just one is a set of facts and one is not. And so we can argue facts, but we can't just say something and make it true. When it comes to verifiable facts, we can't just say that. Anyway, I'm saying that kind of badly, but hopefully you get what I'm saying, and that's the community we're building here. So welcome. I am glad to have you here. And with that, that was kind of a bigger opening than maybe I intended. So tonight, Kouri Richins verdict, Afroman full trial verdict, TLDR, and then we are going to probably take it to the Snark tank and chat about Janet Mills' ad. Chat, let me know if you want me to pull up that ad. I am inclined not to give it any more airtime because it made me so mad. But let me know if you want to look at it, go through it, and break it down bit by bit, because oh boy, did that make me it got my dander up. Um, don't know why I went Southern for that. It's just it's been a weird week. So, with that, thanks for being here, and I'm gonna go ahead and roll the intro, and we will get right into it. Welcome to Bark a Lot with the Aurora H. White. I'm a legal biller by trade, opinionated law and politics nerd by default. I'm here to break down the political, pop culture, and court headlines that we're all talking about. We value facts, thoughtful discussion, and salty language, so whether you're a fellow law nerd, a political junkie, or just looking for a little hope in today's crazy world, you're in the right place. Tap that subscribe button, pull up your soapbox, and let's go. Let's go. Do you have your soapbox? Do you have your soapbox ready? Because we are going to need it tonight. First up is the Kouri Richins verdict. So, real super quick thing. If you've not been following the trial with me so far, you can catch my TLDRs in on this channel. You can go watch the old ones and catch yourself up. As always, when I am covering anything court cases, that's not a sentence, Aurora. When I'm covering any court, I usually will drop in my favorite creators that are attorneys who also cover the same things, because most of what I pick up and pass on here, I learned from them. So, yeah, highly recommend. Definitely check them out. I love them very much, and I'm in their chats. And so the Kouri Richins trial, but she was accused of poisoning her husband by way of fentanyl. And in the 3-week trial there was a lot of lawyerly games. There was a lot of good lawyering. This one was interesting because of the people that I've mentioned, there are very different opinions amongst the different groups. It is very fascinating because I saw this case and I was at guilty beyond reasonable doubt very early on. I was also watching pretrial motions, so I had information the jury did not have. However, that did not seem to matter because that jury, after 3+ weeks of trial, took just under 3 hours to deliberate. I didn't think they were coming back that night. They got the case, and that day, by the time everybody left the courtroom and went home for the day, there was a verdict. Guilty on all counts. Guilty of the aggravated murder, guilty of the attempted murder the couple of weeks before that, guilty of the insurance fraud. So everything she was charged with on this particular trial, she was found guilty of by a jury. I am surprised it was so quick. I am not surprised they came to the verdict they came to, me personally. 2 jurors have spoken out so far. There is one, I didn't even bother to pull it up before tonight because one juror interview was like 3 minutes and it's cut and interspersed with an ABC thing. So I'm not necessarily going to test the copyright things on YouTube with that. However, I did see that another juror had come forward. I have not looked at that yet. If you want me to take some time, maybe next week, to look at those, happy to. I'm going to anyway. But let me know if you want to be involved. So as for the closing arguments, I thought they were amazing closing arguments. We had one more laundered Easter egg with other people's pockets. We see you, Bloodworth. We see you. We see that you are laundered. And so that was one of those moments where all of us in chat were like, "Oh my god, that happened." If you know, you know, and if you don't know, it's an Emily D. Baker thing. Anyway, sentencing will happen on May 13th. Utah is different. This is one of those times where different jurisdictions do things differently. So in Utah, she can get 25 to life on the aggravated murder. I don't know. Pardon me, that yawn came out of nowhere. I am so sorry. I don't know the specifics with what goes into that, so I don't have anything to share as to I am wondering for this one if we are going to see the judge make any sort of a statement. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It depends on jurisdiction, decorum, sort of unspoken rules of the court, I think. And May 13th is also the victim's birthday. So for the trial that was running sort of right alongside the anniversary of his passing and stuff like that, it's one hell of a bow on the whole thing. There are other cases, there are other financial crimes cases that are in the works for Kouri Richins. This was just the big the biggest charge with the most jail time involved. The financial crimes cases will be continuing, but she is now convicted. I am so sorry. These are contagious. I do not know where this is coming from. Apologies, chat. Sincere apologies for the rogue yawns that are affecting us. So let me know if you want me to cover the sentencing. Otherwise, you know where I'm going to be. You know where I'm going to be watching that sentencing, and we can chat about it later if you want. But that is that case closed up for the time being. Not fully closed, still have sentencing, but she is in jail. She's not going to be getting out of jail anytime soon. So with that, I'm going to swoop I'm gonna try and kick this series of yawns that is attacking me out of nowhere, and, because that's just rude. Um, and then we're gonna do the Afroman TLDR, and I'm gonna make sure I have my notes in front of me. So, let me swoopity swoop. Alright, swoop swoop. Alright, I have my notes in front of me because while I can basically tell you all of the things, we are going to, for the love of all things holy, whatever is causing this. All right, we're going to take a moment. We're going to just stretch it out and hope that that works. The Afroman lawsuit. So, I didn't even know who Afroman was because it's not my kind of thing mostly, but Afroman is a musical artist and he so what had happened was a bunch of cops got a search warrant on some tenuous ground to go search his house for like kidnapping victims, alleged kidnapping victims in a basement. Well, his house doesn't have a basement, they learned. I'm pretty sure they could have run a basic search on the house and found that out before they took a battering ram to the door, but I digress. So the cops come in, they break down his door while he's gone, which is pretty common of if you're executing a search warrant, making sure folks aren't in the house. I'm turning on my heater to see if that stops the yawns. Um, and so they break down the door to his house. He's got a security system on in his house. So a lot of this is on video that he ended up releasing. They come through the house, they're searching for things. There's also some body cam footage where they say some not so nice things about him. Shocker. And they end up finding some weed. Again, this is my surprised face. And like I think he said $5,000 in cash in a suit pocket. Well, they took the money and they took the weed. And when he got back, and somewhere in there, I think his ex-wife and his kids swung by the house to see what was going on, and the cops were explaining they were conducting a search warrant, all of that. He gets back. Obviously, they didn't have any of the things that there was nothing in the house on this bogus search warrant that fit. So he's like, well, now that you know that it wasn't me and whatever this is has nothing to do with me, can you fix my door and return my money? They returned some of the money, but not all of the money. Again, shocker. And they told him he was on his own with the door. So he turned around and made mocking and mean. I will give them that. They were funny, but they were also mean. They music videos about each of the cops because he was like, well, if you're not going to pay for my door the way you should, and you're not going to give me an apology, which was the other thing he asked for, he was like, fine, I'll make money the other way. And he made music videos and he put them up on YouTube and he made the money back to fix the door. And then the cops sued him for defamation, and some of them also sued for emotional distress. The trial was like 2 days. It was something. Runkle covers the entire thing in one like 4-hour stream. Highly recommend. I Anyway, all of the cops get up one by one, they testify. The judge obviously thinks this is going to go in the cops' favor as well. I have never seen I've listened to a lot of court. There have been some down home folksy kind of courts that I have listened to court in. I have never seen anything like this. This was like an SNL sketch, but real life and ridiculous. And the lawsuit shouldn't have gotten that far, I don't think, anyway, because of course he can't sue the cops, but the cops can sue him. Let us keep that in mind. And so they go through, and each cop gets up and it's like, "Ugh, my life is so hard. People called me mean names." I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what it was. People have called me mean names. And their attorney asked them, how mean this is and all of that. And then Afroman's attorney gets up and just one by one with basic questions. It's like, well, you've heard worse than this, haven't you? Well, yeah. One by one, just dismantling their argument real quick, real smooth. Then their lawyer called Afroman to the stand, which was, if you watch no other parts of that trial, that the man is up there in a full-on American flag suit with American flag sunglasses, because apparently this courtroom has no rules. And normally I'd be like, dude, sunglasses off. But this was so insane. He gave Afroman showed up with the correct energy for that farce of a trial. And the jury took very little time to be like, yeah, no, you don't get to have any of this man's money. He's like, no. I think Afroman should have countersued, but honestly, I think he's gonna turn around and make more music videos, and now he gets to leave it all up. So that was, I'm gonna check my notes and see if I'm missing anything. That was just oh, and in the music videos, that was the other thing. In the music videos, part of I think why they sued him is he used his own security cam footage from his cameras. I believe he also filed a Freedom of Information Act request to get the body cam, and he got those and used those. And I don't think they thought that was how that was going to go. So the cops, again, in this case, they played stupid games and they won stupid prizes. And bonus for Afroman, a whole bunch of people that didn't know he had his YouTube channel, like me and a whole bunch of others, now do. And he's gained a lot more subscribers from it. So they Streisand affected this right in the money into his pockets. That was a terrible phrase. That was a terrible sentence. But anyway, so that was, if you're seeing all of the Afroman stuff around what happened, that is what happened. So yeah. Oh, I have not checked. I have not checked yet. I suspect Afroman's probably going to make a new tune with the cop's lawyer, but I haven't checked yet. If you know, let me know. If you want me to go check, I will go check. But that sure was something. Oh yeah. He's probably better off making more videos. Oh, for sure. He will make so much more money than he would have if he countersued by just doing this. Like, so much more money. So much more money. But man, that trial was, I'm still buffering. I am still processing whatever that was that happened in that courtroom. It was like I did not know that trials could look like that. I think probably they shouldn't look like that on the regular, but wow. When one of the lawyers, when the cop's lawyer took a chance to play one of the videos easily 4 or 5 times, I think it might have been 6 times. It didn't the song is still stuck in my head. Can you imagine what it was like to be on that jury? If the song is still stuck in my head, you know they were back there humming that tune along with the others. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So those are the 2 little ones there. Let us do our I'm trying to decide, chat. Deep dive or snark tank bumper? I think I'm gonna use the snark tank bumper. I think we're going to the snark tank. I think that is what is happening. We are going to the snark tank because I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of opinions. And even though it's our big story of the evening, I'm gonna get snarky. So let's go. We're going to the snark tank. So, chat, how many of you have seen the Janet Mills ad? Let me know in the chat. If you're watching on replay, crew, love you so much. I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for checking out the show. Let me know in the comments. I can speak. How many of you have seen this ad that So we are, let me start here. We are barreling towards the primary. Some primaries in other states have already happened. New Jersey, Illinois, Texas. Guys, where am I missing? I'm missing one. And yeah, this is so you've seen it. You've seen it. Okay. So we're heading toward the primary. What this means, primaries, if you're international in the states, we have this wild thing where each state has primaries for the Democratic and Republican nominees because apparently we only have a 2-party system. And we didn't used to have only a 2-party system, by the way. That is like a Civil War era and beyond kind of thing, like and forward kind of thing. So as we head into the primaries, we have Democrats and Republicans that go up against each other, and people from each registered party, depending on what state you're in. If you're in California, you can vote in any of them. In Maine, you have to be registered to be able to vote. We used to have a caucus system. Sorry, I have something in my eye. And the caucus system was literally back in 2016. I went to my first ever caucus in 2016. It was literally people in a room. And if you wanted this candidate, you went to this side of the room. And if you wanted this candidate, you went to that side of the room. And then you would tally up from there. Primaries are a lot easier, and you have to deal with way less people right at the front end. So for Maine, we currently have primaries for District 2 happening coming up. That's my district, so that's the one I'm paying the most attention to, which is for the House. That's for House of Representatives. We have the Senate race coming up. Susan Collins' seat is up for grabs. The state, as a general rule, would like anyone else. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a huge group of people that if you put a potato on the ballot, they would vote for the potato over Collins. There's a whole group of people who wouldn't, but I'm pretty sure a potato would do better than Collins in a lot of areas. So we have Susan Collins who's running again. There isn't really anybody challenging her because obviously. And then on the Democratic side, we currently have our current governor, Janet Mills, running for the Democratic seat. We also have Graham Platner. We have do we have anybody else? We did have Jordan Wood, and he was like, that's a lot of race, and I'm not going to win that one. So he switched to House of Representatives, running for House of Representatives in District 2, which was a wise choice. I should insert here that Maine does have ranked choice voting for these items, which means in Maine, we get to pick our number 1 candidate, our number 2 candidate, our number 3 candidate, and on down the line. So we have had elections where I can choose, I want this person first, this person second. And if my first choice doesn't get a majority of the votes, then it gets into how many people voted for them as second choice. I'm doing a terrible job explaining ranked choice voting at the moment, but Maine does ranked choice voting in a lot of areas. Oddly, we don't do ranked choice voting for our governor because the Maine Constitution? I need to look into that a little bit more. Anyway, the Senate race is all anybody's talking about. It's all over the national news because, well, Susan Collins has been there forever and has capitulated on some things that have been painful. And she's the one who said, I think Trump learned his lesson when she voted not to impeach him. Yeah, clearly that wasn't the case, Susan. So, anyway, how has this? So, up until now, here's how this race has gone. This random upstart that I have never heard of drops an ad that explains, like, I'm Graham Platner. I'm I'm an oyster farmer. I'm running to take I'm running for Senate to take Susan Collins' seat. And it was an ad that I was like, well, shit. That's going to get some attention. It got my attention. I think that got a lot of attention from folks who are maybe more MAGA, and but not happy with how things are going. Oh, right. Yeah. Mama's reminding me that we don't get ranked choice voting for governor because of how it's worded in the Constitution. We could fix that, Maine state legislature. Just saying. I'm pretty sure we could fix that. But so he comes out of the blue and it's like, okay. So I was like, I don't know. I mean, we know Janet Mills is going to run. She had not announced at that point, but we all knew. We all knew she was going to get tapped. And they're like, I'll go check this guy out and see. Now, when I decided to go to that town hall, it was a couple days before the tattoo kerfuffle happened and the Reddit thing happened and all of this big amount of Oppo research that dropped. Here's the thing about that Oppo research. And I've noticed it in some of these other races that I've talked about as well. It is this much information plucked from this much information. It's the first issue. That the Reddit posts that are all over. And I'm not defending what he said in those Reddit posts, but I am saying that I did go through and look at more of what was surrounding those initial Reddit posts to see if I could get more context. There is more context. And down the line, you can see in some of those Reddit posts, you're like, oh, that's where the change of mind happened. I don't have an issue with people being able to change their mind. I really don't. And I know I'm sidetracking here a little bit. But so he came out of nowhere. He hit with that. The next thing you know, all of this stuff is happening, and everybody and their brother wants to ask Platner the same question. Jen Psaki had him on the show. He was on Pod Save America. He was being asked to do every podcast there was. So, in a way, the national Democratic establishment, ugh, um, Streisand affected the candidate that they wanted to destroy. And so I've gotten a little off topic here because but this is to give you all the backstory, right? So we knew Janet Mills was going to run, but she hadn't announced yet. All of this is going on. Somewhere in all of this, Janet Mills is like, and I'm running to unseat Susan Collins. And the state of Maine basically went, okay. I mean, you're 77 now. You've been governor for a while. Like, can we maybe have somebody who is not collecting Social Security while also working? Like working a representative job? Can we have somebody at this point, if somebody said I'm 65, I'd be like, great, a young puppy is going to DC. So somebody in their 40s, somebody who's my age running for office. Yeah. And here's the other thing that has come up, is only come up a little bit. When you're my age, all of your 20s are available online somewhere. It might be on some MySpace archive or Reddit or LiveJournal, but it's there. You know what Janet Mills doesn't have? Any of her unfortunate foot and mouth incidents from when she was 22, because the internet didn't exist then. Am I a little salty about this? I am. It's why we went to the Snark tank. So then I'm sitting there and I'm watching TV the other night, and I get assaulted by this political ad that is so nasty. I should back up. So for months now, we have had Graham Platner. And if somebody else if a woman of color came out of the woodwork tomorrow to run for Senate that had Platner energy, I'd vote for her instead. So far, we have Maine's version of Hillary Clinton, which inspires me none. And we have Graham Platner, where I'm like, oh, you're actually going to go to DC and maybe kick some acid. Like, I'll take a chance on you. It's going to be a gamble either way. I will take a chance on you. I want to see if you can go down and go head to head with Fetterman and maybe win. That would be worth it to me. I'll take a gamble. But so, like, for months, the work is being done. He's showing up at community events. He's coming out and talking against ICE. He's putting out his policy. He's putting out his platform. He's explaining how he intends to go about doing certain things if elected. And he's taken the election directly to Collins. He's just, for the most part, ignoring Janet Mills entirely. So then I'm watching TV the other night, and this very first big political ad of Janet Mills hits, and it is the meanest, nastiest attack ad against Platner, not Collins. And it didn't go over well, at least in my algorithm. In my algorithm, because I go and I look at the comments. I'm like, is she being ratioed or are people latching on to this? Because I'm curious. Because in my mind, from what I am seeing in New Jersey and Illinois and a lot of these other places, it seems as though the primary political nerd voting group, they are not latching on to that negative ad style in any of these places. We are tired of it. There's enough negativity everywhere. We are looking at trying to save democracy versus dealing with a fascist regime. And so we're looking for that community building, not tear the other guy down. That tear the other guy down thing worked in 2000. It worked right up until about 2008. And then it started to shake. And it kind of worked in 2016. And by the time we hit 2020, we're tired. We want to come together rather than, well, and the violence has gone up. I mean, when you look at this tear each other down and then you see how much violence has actually occurred it to real humans in real time in front of our eyes, I think that's why we don't take well to it right now. And so to see somebody who is supposedly the more experienced one, the one who can go be a freshman senator because she's been in politics for freaking ever. It didn't hit well. The comments were almost entirely go home, we don't like you, vote red, and not a thing I advocate, by the way, but still, and Platner, 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 Platner. Yeah, mom says many voters want to hear what their policies are. That I have talked to so many people, and when we talk about who are we looking at, we're looking at the people who are showing up, who are doing the work, who are talking to people, not talk down to people and not at people, talking with their constituents. And I honestly don't think most of my friends, to put it very bluntly, we don't give a rat's ass whether you have an R next to your name or a D next to your name. We want to know what you're going to do for us, for your constituency. How are you going to work with us? Because your job is going to be to go to DC and represent a group of diverse people with differing ideas of how to do things. And your job is going to be to take all of that and funnel it down into laws and diplomacy and what is now a very broken system in DC. So the ads kind of reflect, do you know what you're getting into or not? And to have the very first ad come out and be attacking the Democratic opponent, it felt gross. It felt gross, it felt mean, and you could watch on Threads and on Facebook in the comments, and I know it's my algorithm, I recognize it is what Facebook is choosing to show me. But even in that, the ratio was wildly skewed to Platner and Collins. So I don't understand why we're still battling this out. She has tried to say that she tried to put out one thing that was a little less mean and nasty, but there's still no discussion about policies. Meanwhile, her opponent is still ignoring that she's even in the race, which I'm here for. And he's coming out and saying he hasn't shied away from the stupid things he said. He said them, whatever, it's fine. We can have a whole deep conversation on the tattoo of it all, because that's a whole different, like, there are many layers to that. And being a secret plant for the regime is just not believable to me at this point. We talk about the Fetterman issue. What we don't tend to bring up with Fetterman is he did have a stroke. There was a push against having him more neurologically checked out to see if he was still going to be the same representative. I have more questions about that. I don't know if it was stroke related, but I know that I have more questions and we have not gotten answers, and that's a whole different show. But this nasty ad that Mills put out, I noticed it, right? And I was like, that is gross. And I don't know why the establishment, I'm fully on my soapbox tonight, I know that. I don't get why the Democratic establishment is so hell-bent on losing. They cannot figure out how to learn from their mistakes. They overmanaged Kamala right into the mess we are in now. And they wouldn't let her talk about certain progressive ideas because we don't want progressive ideas. What we call the radical left in this country is quite literally globally being right smack in the middle. It, I, So the more we need to go left, we need to go center. We need the center. The center is old school New England Republicans. That's the center. And even some of those are now considered progressive. So where is some of this money coming from? That is part of this conversation. AIPAC. AIPAC has changed their names on some of the super PACs. Now, I do not know enough background to do a full deep dive into AIPAC. What I do know is that Netanyahu and the Jewish community are not the same thing. There is a conversation that we do not want to have, and it revolves around this, like, well, Israel can't be committing genocide because Jewish. That's not an argument that works. It is not one that is logical, because humans can do terrible things to other humans. The Lakotas also used to own slaves too. Pretty much any human group on the planet owned slaves at one point in time. Every group of people, and I'm not just talking about African slaves, I'm talking about humans, much like ants, have a bad habit of not viewing other humans as being the same as them. And so they enslave them and they treat them terribly until somebody comes along and does the same thing to them. And then, if we're lucky, like the Lakota, they go, oh, we see the error of our ways. Let us put this into history. Let us teach different and better lessons about it. If you don't talk about it, if you don't own it, you can't fix it. So AIPAC, in my opinion, has some very bad ideas. And I am a humanitarian. I don't know what the word is of what I am. All human beings should be able to live, have clean water, have food, have the room in their psyche for celebration. Love is stronger than hate. War helps no one. Genocide helps less than no one. And violence just begets violence. So that is the fundamentals of where I stand. I am not going to sit here and go like it's not even so much a passivity because there is room for other things, but it's more, well, like Ukraine has taken an approach with being invaded of seemingly, from my eyes, if you are in Ukraine, if you are Ukrainian, if you know people from Ukraine, please let me know if I need more nuance. From what I see in my privileged little chair over here, the Ukrainian fight is a defensive one, not an offensive one. They are not ceding ground. They are not caving. They are not capitulating. They are defending themselves. And sometimes that includes some offensive tactics, but for the most part, what I am hearing from that part of the world is an conscious effort to not dehumanize Russians. And that is not normal in war. From what I understand, like that is not normal in war. Is the if you are going to send people to do war, I'm trying to avoid certain words YouTube doesn't like. But if you're going to send people into a conflict situation, it is to set people up in a psychological way to allow them to do the things that need to be done. It is the easiest path to simply dehumanize the other side. Because if they are other, if they are not human, if they are them, it is very easy to make that leap to commit violence. If we recognize we are all on this planet trying to make it together, it becomes much harder to commit violence. Which is one of the reasons why this regime just wants everybody hating everybody. AIPAC has a lot of problem money. They are making a lot of money on war. And they have a vested interest in keeping that going. And they have chosen the central Democrats to be the ones that they want to send to DC. So we've seen that play out in several of the primaries already. Janet Mills, as I understand it, has taken AIPAC money. Also, they have changed their name. I would need to pull up the Phil DeFranco, but they have 2 new PACs that are not AIPAC because they have recognized that people are tracking AIPAC money. So they have changed the name of 2 PACs so that they can still buy the elections and not have it immediately jump back to AIPAC. Here's what I want to know. Why are you backing these candidates if you want actual change? Because what I am seeing starting to play out is the more independent candidates, the ones who are taking the Mamdani tack, taking the Graham Platner tack of going out into the community, talking with the constituents, including their MAGA neighbors, finding out what they want, having a conversation, saying, is this what you want? I want the same thing for you, that kind of thing. And really getting back into that community of it all. This is something the establishment Dems aren't doing. Like Mills. Photo ops, yeah. Community building, doing the work. I haven't seen it. If you've seen it, send it to me. I want to know. I want to see this. I have not. So it makes me wonder, do they actually want them to win or not? And if the answer is no, how do we make ourselves aware, get ourselves to the primaries, and send the people that we actually want, the ones who are going to stand up for this? Because I have to be honest, I don't think Mills is going to get to DC and start impeachment proceedings. And we need to put most of this regime in jail for the crimes they have committed. I want due process. I want trials. I want the trials televised. And I want consequences to happen for the regime, because I do not believe anybody should be above the law. And I would like the law to come get them, including, especially, Pam Bondi. So this is kind of a long, winding speech. I got way up on my soapbox here. But as we get into the primaries, let me know where you are. Let me know if you're seeing it play out in your area, because I want to track this. And please pay attention to it, because it already has affected Illinois, I think Texas, and what was the other one? In New Jersey, the progressive actually won because they spent so much time fighting, they didn't pay attention to the progressive. And right now, Mills came out with this ad, and it's like, well, but what are you gonna do, ma'am? I want to hear. I know all that. That's yesterday's news. The news cycle doesn't. It barely a minute now that we get a news cycle. Like, I plan a show on Wednesday, and by the time I wake up Saturday morning, everything is different. So the news cycle is moving fast. Let me know who your candidates are. Let me know if you're seeing it here. Let me know if you have questions about ranked choice voting, because we need ranked choice voting everywhere. It is a game changer. If we get ranked choice voting, you know what we can do? Have more parties than the MAGA Republicans, the sleepy Democrats, and Jill Stein. Like, can we finally just get this going so that we can put folks like Jill Stein in her place? That was shade from left field at Jill Stein. Do I still blame her for the election? Yeah, I kind of do, because she siphoned off votes from the wrong group. Here's the other thing. I want to know, do you think, because I think the progressives, the radicals, right? The Bernie bros. I say all of this because one day I will tell you about my experience at that caucus and the shit people said to me that day. But as we head into this election, let me know who you're looking at. Let me know who you're interested in. Let me know. I'm very curious. Are you looking at what people are doing in their communities, regardless of how they're running? Is the new game? How many questions do I have tonight? Is the new game, can you do the work? If you can already do the work and show up and build this community, I'll send you on to DC. And if you're going to hide in your ivory tower, you can stay there. Leah coming in with ranked choice. Yes. Ranked choice is a game changer. It really is. It is the difference between me in 2016 going, I have to vote for Hillary. Okay. I did vote for Hillary. This is still my face every time I think about it. If you voted for Hillary and you were all for her, good for you. I was not thrilled with her. It's just like I'm not thrilled with Mills. I'm just not. So, I'm curious. What are the things I know cousin Leah she wants to know everything that you as a representative are going to do about for teachers, about education. How can we protect teachers? How can we, you know, make education better? I know that's a huge issue for her. For me, I like, again, we're talking to the wackadoo that one day I would like to see us institute universal basic income, and that is a whole conversation. Um, and I know it's very controversial. Not everybody agrees with me on that, but like I am that far. So healthcare, education, I want us to be able to be bored with politics again. That is what I want. And so I'm going to look for people who can rally community, get people involved in the right ways, who are going to fight for voting rights as opposed to trying to take them away. Um anyway, that's I should swoop. We should say goodnight. Let me know if you've seen that ad. Let me know what it's like in your area. Let me know, because I am watching this on a national scale and I want to follow this. So if you've got some local stories, if you've got an ad for your area that you're had the same reaction that I had to the Mills ad, if you're starting to spot the bots and the bot farms popping up on certain things, because I sure have with the Platner situation up here. Let me know. Please send it to me, because I want to be able to see this, and I want to be able to help you navigate your own areas. So let me know. I am going to do a swoop. I guess I didn't get super snarky. So I'm just going to say, like, Mills, you're 77. You've done a fine job as governor. We are all tired. You must be tired. Please just go be a grandma and let the young puppy who is middle-aged go fight. Like, can we have that? Can we have that, please? All right, I'm gonna swoop, and then I am going to say goodnight. What are we gonna talk about next week? I don't know, chat. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. Or all right. Thank you for joining me. That is my soapbox. I have ranted long enough. You know my feelings now about how this is going to go. If you are a candidate, I'm going to say this to you now. If this comes across your feed and you are a candidate, show up, do the work, talk to your neighbors, and then we can have a chat. Then we can have a chat. Dr. Shaw here in Maine, he's showing up, doing the work. So right now he has my vote. We have, I don't know, 50 people running for governor, I think. Not as many as California. Oh, California. The California governor's race was the other place that's happening. So do we want to talk California soon? We might have to talk California soon. Let me know. Let me know what areas of interest you have. The world is always on fire. So as always, if you have a story you want me to cover, send it to me. I already have received some stuff. I know Leah has sent me some things. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Cuz you never know what that neurospicy brain is going to latch onto and be like, "Oh my god, I need to know everything here." So, keep sending me the stories. I'm going to warn you, chat. I'm going to warn you right now. We meet here every Saturday. That is wonderful. I have coming up this of one voluntary niece. No, I have two voluntary nieces graduating high school. There are lots of other summer things happening, trips that I am taking, trips that other people are taking, where I'm going to need to be at home. So we may change up the days, and we may have some times where I'm just going to do a post instead of a show. So I just want to warn you, I'll try and give you at least a week heads up. But anyway, summer's coming. We're getting busy. That's going to be a thing. But for the most part, I don't know. The world is, I don't know. Our president has thrown at least 3 other temper tantrums today, and that usually means some place that seems far away and is closer gets bombed or something. I'm tired of toddlers having weapons of mass destruction. Like, we need to do something. So anyway, let me know what you want. Let me know what you want me to cover. As always, if you've made it this far and you haven't done sorry, chat, I got completely distracted by a ladybird, an invasive species that is coming into the house at the moment. So I'm going to go deal with that in just a moment. Brain, work, do the YouTube things. That's right. You're here. You hung out with me on Saturday. Thank you for being here. If you think somebody needs to see me climb up on my soapbox and yell at them for an hour, send the video that way. Let's build this community, because we're gonna need a community. So thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging with me. You guys are amazing. I'm gonna see you next week. And right now, I'm gonna go deal with that terrible bug. And cheers, as always. Be well, do good, and remember to bark a lot. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Bark a Lot. Follow me on Threads and Insta at the Aurora H. White. That's where I post most frequently between shows. Hit that like button, connect with us, and remember to bark a lot. We will see you next time.